In this video, we'll take an introductory look at classification. So let's just assume that we have a data set which consists of two input features, and each data point is labeled as class A or class B. So we have feature 1, feature 2, which are the input features, and label, which stands for the class that each data point belongs to. So we can plot this on a two-dimensional chart because we have two input features and the points are class A and class B. Now, of course, if we're going to be doing classification using these two input features, feature 1 and feature 2, our goal is to construct a decision boundary that uses these two features and separates out both of the classes, class A and class B. And you can visualize this and see that there are many choices for a decision boundary. For the purposes of this discussion, which is an introductory discussion, we'll only consider linear decision boundaries or linear classifiers. So an example of a classifier could perhaps just be a straight line that separates out both of the classes, as you can see in this figure. And this is a perfectly valid classifier, but this is not the only one. There are several other choices for a classifier, even for a linear classifier, as you can see in this figure with the three additional dashed lines. Of course, keep in mind that we can also construct curvilinear decision boundaries which separate out class A and class B, but at this point in time those are not warranted and we don't need to get into those details for this introductory discussion. All right, now that we have constructed our classifier, which is our solid yellow line, our goal is now to use this specific classifier to label new data points. And you can see as you watch this video, when new data points become available, you would classify those new points as belonging to class A or class B, depending on which side of the classifier they belong. You have a class A point, you have one more that's classified as B, and one that's classified as A. And this is perfectly fine. So uh, using this randomly chosen classifier, we were able to classify new data points. And as I mentioned earlier, this is not the only possibility. What if we had chosen a slightly different classifier in amongst the earlier choices? In this specific case, you can see that some of the new data points, which are labeled as class A, continue to be labeled as class A because they lie to one side of the classifier, and one point that belongs to class B that was previously classified as class B continues to remain over there. But there is one data point that's to the left of the dashed line that we had previously labeled as B because we had used the previous decision boundary. And in this specific instance, that point would be classified as label A. So you can see that depending on the choice of classifier or depending on the choice of decision boundary, our points might be labeled as A or B. And so the next question is, which of these two classifiers is correct? And that's a discussion that we will focus on at a later stage when we talk about model validation. But for right now, this discussion about classifiers helps you understand what decision boundaries are and how decisions are made with respect to new data points to classify them into one group or the other.